your current private trainer is holding you back from your college dreams. If you're watching this video, you're probably playing MLS Next, ECNL, maybe one of the second teams, but you're up there towards the top talent in the country. However, only 1% of guys will ever make it to the D1 level. And if you're watching this and you're a center mid, there's even less spots out there for you. And I've been through it. I've actually been an in-person private trainer before, and I've seen the results that I got with those guys compared with the guys that I'm working with remotely now, and they're just completely different. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through in this video exactly why your in-person private trainer is keeping you from your potential and what are the alternatives to make sure that you're not left out when all your boys are committing to these top D1s and you're stuck with only D2 or D3 offers. Okay, if we haven't met yet, my name is Chris Cushing. I work with center mids across the country to make sure they're turning into talent that can reach the D1 level. Okay, and if you haven't heard me speak about it before, the facts out there are true. Only 1% or very small amount of kids ever make it there, and even less will ever start. Even less, or maybe a little bit more, will touch the field, but even less of the guys that even touch the field will start, like I said. So let me walk you through the 3 reasons why your current private trainer is holding you back, and again, what you can do instead. So the first reason, is because training is not the same as developing. Okay, your private trainer right now is training you, and I'll give you my experience. This is the truth, and I've spoke to other coaches, and we're all in a similar boat when we used to do the in-person lessons. And it's like, kid comes out there, you've only got an hour to work with him because you've got other moms and dads and their kids lining up ready for their session to start. And you have to get this kid through a 60-minute session, trying to get him to improve as fast as possible. Some days he's just not feeling well. Some days he has to cancel it because his mom couldn't get him to the fields from work. Or if he is driving on his own, he hit traffic, so he came 15 minutes late. There's all these different variables. But even when he gets out there, in-person coaches, they just train you. Okay, and it's great. You probably get better for an hour. This is the experience that I saw when I was coaching in person. It's like, yeah, go out there, I scream a bunch, I clap my hands, I say go faster, but that's not developing. Okay, you're training, you're getting the cone drills right, and you're getting all these like ball mastery works and work done, and your calves are probably sore after the hour session, but you're not developing, and that's why you just keep on going in circles, making the same mistakes, and you train more than all the other kids on your team, yet you still show up to games and you're not confident. Okay, that was me. That was 100% me. I was an average player on a JV team my sophomore year, and then a few years later, I was a D1 captain. Okay, and it wasn't just going and doing ball mastery cone drills once a week that got me there. Okay, it's the whole process of developing. I spelled this wrong. Remote athletes, the guys I work with, they have 12-week plans. So instead of just going out there and say this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, say that like you get out there with the in-person private trainer and you go and train on Thursdays. Okay, cool, done. Well, what about all the other days? Okay, what about all the other days? And if you're like how I was, I guess in high school, we weren't really using like ChatGPT, but I was definitely looking up the influencers, on Instagram that were telling me that I need to do these 10 tips or you follow these 10 tips and tricks to play like Mbappe or to play like Messi, to be the best player on my team, all these tips and tricks. And I was trying to do them on my own, but they weren't working. Okay, and the reason they're not working is because they're not actually personalized for you. Okay, so don't listen to someone telling you what to do when they don't actually understand your situation, what you really need, your gaps, your strengths, your weaknesses. And the guys in my 12-week program, well, we have week 1, week 2, week 3, we go 4-week block. So we call this like block 1. And not only do they have just one session like they would with an in-person trainer, but they know what they do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They might be training on Thursday, and so they'll have a certain session like they might have day A on Thursday. On Saturdays, they might have games. So we're talking on Friday and we're doing a match day -1 session to go into the game day. We're also having a little conversation, like, what are your 3 focuses? This is what I've seen. This is what I'll tell them. Like, this is what I've seen in your last games. This is what we need to change this game. That way they have a clear focus and they're not just making the same mistakes on one Saturday as they did the last Saturday. They're actually making progress, okay? So my guys have a 12-week plan. That way they're not so scattered, and say they do have a day where they're not feeling well. Their whole week of training isn't ruined because of one Thursday where they couldn't make it out to the fields, right? And when they do get in season, like, trust me, it's hard to get out and meet a private trainer and find a time that works for both of you. Because if you're playing MLS Next or ECNL, like, you're traveling every weekend, you're training like 3-4 times a week with the club. You probably have high school as well. I remember going from one practice to the next, getting home, having to do homework, and then still having to fit a social life in and take care of my health, right? So it's difficult to go and meet your in-person trainer. That's why the remote program has worked for guys so well, even better when they get in season. Okay, because in season, and I think I'm going to get to this in a little bit, but in season is way more important than out of season because it's what actually matters. A lot of guys will train hard in the summer, go in season and, make mistakes and go back to their old habits. And then they'll train again in the summer, and then they'll keep doing this cycle of training in the off season, not really performing how they want in season and expecting it to be different. But in season is way more important. Okay, so that goes into second part of why your current private trainer is holding you back from your college dreams. Okay, slows down in season. Okay, like I was saying, you got travel, you got games, you have practices, like you have all this stuff going on, but this is the most important part because you've got showcases. Maybe you're going to ID camps, but most importantly, you're getting together film. Like, you need to send your film out to these colleges, right? So why wouldn't you be putting all your resources, all of your focus, all your training, like making sure you're doing it the proper way when it matters? Because when you train in the summer, like, everyone's training in the summer. Like, everyone is, right? Everyone's like a pretty hard worker because they have no school. They have like way less responsibilities, okay? But when you're in season, this is the chance to have live feedback. You play a game, you give the ball away too many times, or you have a situation where you struggled, you didn't feel confident. What you do in between Saturdays. I'm using Saturdays as an example, like maybe your games are on Saturdays. Like, what you do in between these 2 days is going to determine your college career, right? You can go and show up on Saturday and play okay, but like, if you're not actively improving from one Saturday to the next on 1 week, and then the next week doing the same thing, and the next week doing the same thing. Like, if you're not doing that, then you're not going to beat all the other guys out there. Keep in mind, there is thousands and thousands of guys that are just as good as you, just as hardworking as you, that are in the coaches' inboxes. So when you sit there and complain that the coach isn't responding because he's so busy, or because the email system is just messed up, or maybe your email just went to spam, like, no, dude, he just has plenty of other guys. And now he's just looking at 23-year-olds from Europe who used to play professional, who somehow still have eligibility to play college in America. He's just going to pick that guy, right? You need to be undeniable. You need to improve where it matters. So in between the Saturdays is where it matters. And so the way to look at it is there's other ways to improve, because let's address the fact that you are in season. So it's hard to train, right? It's hard to train that many times. And a few things that you can do is modify the sessions to be 15 to 20 minutes in the program. With the guys I work with, I call these like priming sessions, especially say you have a game on Saturday, you have practice on Friday. You got to stay after on Friday, focus on the 1 or 2 things that we've been talking about in your film throughout the week, get a few extra reps of those, even if it's 5 reps. Maybe you stay after for 5 minutes. But if you train the right things in the right way for those 5 minutes, it'll make all the difference in the world during the game, okay? So you can modify the sessions, make them 15 to 20 minutes. Also film. If you're anything like how I was, I would be sitting in school, like looking at the VO website, just waiting for my coach to send out the message like, okay guys, the film is up there on the website. It'd be refreshing. It would come out, I would watch it first thing, click through, see my mistakes, see my highlights, move on. And I wouldn't have any clear takeaways. I wouldn't actually get better from that film. I was just wasting my time. And sure, like I got to like watch back my highlights and be like, oh, I'm a really good player. That doesn't help me. Okay, so if you're not sitting down and intentionally watching your film, and if you're not sitting down with a coach, right? When I was doing in-person coaching, I didn't have time to sit down with guys and do an hour or two of film analysis. Luckily now I have the time to invest into that. We have a structure to make sure that they're getting the most out of their film. But this is honestly like the sauce. Like the film is the most important part. If you're watching this properly, then you can get better without even training. Literally, I have a story, I think it's on my YouTube, kind of guy entered the program, grade 3 ankle sprain first day in the program or second day in the program. He couldn't play for like 2 months. He came back, and because we did film properly, because he knew how, like I kind of taught him how to look at his film, what questions to send into me, and I was getting him feedback every single week. He came back more confident after not touching a ball for 2 months because of the film. You know what I mean? So this is the sauce. This is the sauce, is the film. And then also like you got your mentality, right? You got your habits. You've got all these things that I didn't really know played a part when I was in high school. But then I got to the D1 level and I was like, wow, all of these guys are doing something that I'm not. All these guys take their nutrition differently, their fitness differently, and their sleep differently. And all these guys have different tactics that I had no idea even were out there. Okay, and that's why I didn't have a D1 offer until late my senior year, right? Okay, cool. Last thing, to sum it up, and the reason why your in-person coach is just holding you back. It's not his fault. He just physically is limited. You don't know what to do. I touched on it before, but this is so important. Like, literally, if you do the math and you do the right things for 1 hour a week with your trainer, right? You go out there, you're working really hard. Like I said, you finish the session, you're pretty tired. You post your picture, like, yeah, I'm getting after it. Like, yeah, like mom and dad, it was really good. I was getting after it. True. And I credit to you for putting the work in, because most guys, like, hopefully they're not watching this video still, but most guys like don't even go out and train. Most guys just complain. They're like, okay, like I'm not gonna train until like maybe once or twice in the summer. You know what I mean? Like, if you're watching this video, you probably couldn't fathom the idea of not training this week. Okay, so credit to you. However, you're also missing, like there's also like, you're at the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more out there, and there's so many guys that are getting ahead across the country that you don't even know about because you don't have the right tactics to train, especially while you're in season. Okay, so you need to know what to do every single day. I'll give you an example. One of the guys in my program, he had high school and like MLS Next training. Like I'm pretty sure it's Monday through Thursday, and then he has like 2 or 3 games on the weekend. Kid's got no free time. You know what I mean? But with him, we've been making sure we can get film in consistently. We've been making sure that he knows what to do when he stays after training. And even though like I couldn't see him if I was an in-person coach, because on the Friday he needs to take more of an off day. He wouldn't have the energy to go out and do an in-person session. So instead we have him doing like a quick 5 to 10 minute session. But in those 5 to 10 minute sessions, because he's recording them, because he's setting up his phone, getting a quick photo or video to me so I can look at his technique, he's able to do only 5 minutes of training. That's going to translate to something I saw in the technique that he's going to add to his game. It's going to make him hit that long ball better, make him hit that through ball better, lead to an assist, and then bang, straight to the highlight tape, straight to the emails. All of a sudden we have a really good highlight tape and you're actually proving yourself in your film. The coaches will start to respond, right? So if you know what to do every single day, you just execute. If you're watching this video, your problem isn't work rate, okay? And if it is, if you're just like lazy and you just don't do the work, honestly, I can't really help you much. If you're still watching this though, your problem isn't work rate. Your problem is that you just don't know exactly what to do and you don't know what's possible. If someone laid out a 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. schedule of everything you need to do, I'm not saying I'm gonna do that. I don't know if I have the capabilities to do everything every single day. But give you an example, if you actually knew what to do every day, you would just do it, right? If you have a to-do list and your coach or your teacher says like, do this homework, you just do it, right? That's not really like the issue. Sure, you don't want to do it, but you know that you have to do it to get better. Soccer's a lot easier because you probably are way more passionate about it, okay? So maybe the homework wasn't the best example. But if you know what to do every single day, it takes this decision fatigue out of you. right? It just makes it automatic. You would be exhausted if you still had to decide to wake up, brush your teeth, put your clothes on, walk with your left foot and then your right foot. But your body, because it does it so much and it just knows what to do already, you don't get tired from the decisions, right? But the reason, like my point being, when you show up to the fields and you know you need to train, but you're still deciding what to do, like by the time you're doing your dynamic warm-up or you're putting on your cleats, like that's just taking away from what matters. You should already know, and you should have someone make sure you know exactly what you're doing at the field. That way you just execute. Okay, if you want to be a D1 player, to act like a D1 player, and they treat their time as a luxury. They know exactly what to do every single day of the week. Okay, because going D1 is hard. It's difficult. It's possible, but it's hard. And most guys will never get there because they just train really hard one day when they're motivated and they don't know what to do the next. Okay, so to summarize, 3 main reasons why you need to be terrified if you're only working with an in-person private trainer and you're not getting help somewhere else. Right? First thing is because they're training you. They're not developing you. Okay, they're going on a short-term time span when you need a long-term development plan. Okay. Second thing is it slows down in season. If you're training super hard in the summer and you stop when you get in season, you're literally wasting your career because you're literally stopping when it matters most. And the reason why you're stopping is because you don't know, to go to the third point, you don't know what is possible to do. You don't know the right things, how to watch the film, how to take care of your mental, the habits to do when you're in season, right? If you knew, you would execute, okay? And again, if this didn't apply to you, then you're probably not the type of guy that I can actually help, right? If you're not like a sophomore, junior, or senior in high school, you're not playing on a top MLS Next, ECNL, like maybe MLS Next 2 or ECRL. If you're not one of those teams, I'm not sure if I can help you because I really do believe you work best, you can help most the person that you used to be. Right? And I used to be that guy. I was on the fringe of second team and first team, had some D2 and D3 offers, but I just wanted to get to the D1 level. And when I did, I figured out everything that I was wasting so much time on when I was in high school. Okay, I figured out what works. So if you want to work with me, apply to the 12-week program, completely remote, get you into a community of guys that are very similar to you. Keep in mind, we'd have to see if it makes sense because I take it very seriously. I don't want someone to come in that would drop the standard of the group of other guys that are absolutely killing it right now. But if that's you and you want to join, you want to apply to work with me, see if it would make sense, you can hit the first link in the description of this YouTube video, apply, watch the video, and then I'll reach out to you and then we'll get a few more bits of information, see if it makes sense, and we can move forwards from there and see what we can do. But if not, you're just a subscriber, then I'll keep coming out with content, keep helping you out. Hope you keep killing it, and see you soon.